Good afternoon, students. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the second part of the chapter, light. In the part one, we discussed about that light. Light is a form of energy which gives us a sensation of sight. So we are able to see different objects around us only because of the presence of light. If this energy helps us to see different things around us clearly. And there are certain special light sensitive cells that are present in our retina of our eye. So as you can see the structure of eye, you can see the light when light enters into our eyes through the convex lens that is present inside the eye. So the convex lens focuses the light onto the retina. When this light energy that is falling onto the retina, that will create uh, electrical signals. These signals generated by the rods and cone cells that are present in the retina, and these signals will again send to the brain through optic nerve. And in brain, certain special area, auditory, certain vision areas, these areas helps us to see the image. These areas in the brain, or brain that processes these electrical signals that are carried through optic nerve and process the image, and as a result we are able to see different objects that you can see in the structure of eye, that particular part. And the first part we again discussed about what first law of reflection. Look at this diagram. So as you can see here, what I told you in the previous class, the incident angle, the angle of incidence will be equal to angle of reflection. So in the case of, that is the first law of reflection of light. In the first law it says that the angle of incidence, what do you mean by the angle of incidence? Is the angle formed between the incident ray and the normal. What is normal? Normal is a line that is drawn perpendicular to the plane of the mirror. Okay, this line that is called the normal, and this is the incident ray, and the angle formed between the incident ray and the normal, that is known as angle of incidence. Suppose if you take angle of incidence as 60 degree, then the angle of reflection, that is the angle formed between the normal and the reflected ray. This is the reflected ray. So the angle formed between the normal and reflected ray will also be 60 degree. So it is set by the first law of reflection. And what is second law of reflection? Second law of reflection, what we have seen is that these three lines which are shown in this diagram, that is this line represent, this ray represent, what this ray represent? Incident ray. Incident ray, that is the light ray that is falling onto the mirror or to the reflecting surface. Then the normal, then the reflected ray. Reflected ray means what? The ray that is bouncing off from the reflecting surface to the same medium. Here if it is air, air is around all this particular area, so the reflected light is falling back to the same medium. And see the normal. So suppose if you imagine the board, the surface of the board is a single plane. And similarly, if you take the example, say for this notebook or textbook, see this surface is considered to be a plane. This is an example of a single plane. So if you consider the board as a plane, both the second law of reflection of light that says that incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal, these all lie on the same plane. So that means if a light ray that is traveling through this plane, that means this plane of the book, then the normal will also be along this plane, and the reflected ray will also bounce by along the same plane. That is the plane of the book, or it won't bend to any other plane or in this direction. If the incident ray is going along this direction, the reflected ray also must go along this direction. If incident ray is going along this direction, it won't bend and go to another plane. I hope you understood. And the next topic is about regular and irregular reflection. Regular and irregular reflection. What do you mean by it? See this? If the reflection is happening from a smooth surface, such as a plane mirror, if the reflection is happening from a smooth surface, that such kind of reflection is known as what? Regular reflection. So in the case of regular reflection, we can see these are the incident rays. Here you can see incident rays are parallel to each other. And the same way, the reflector rays will also will be parallel to each other. That's the speciality of regular reflection. So this is as a result of the plane surface or the mirror or the reflecting surface. If the reflecting surface is smooth, or just like plane mirror, the reflection, the incident rays, as we know that the incident rays, they are parallel to each other. The rays after reflection will also go parallel to each other. So in the case of regular reflection. Then what about irregular reflection? That is happening all around us. Even if light falls on any objects, we can see the surfaces may not be that much smooth. Here you can see the blackboard or this whiteboard, the surface is so smooth and reflecting. So this, even though it has got minute irregularities, it is not that perfectly smooth. Even though it is smooth, suppose you can see walls or the tables, desk, bench, and on any object, even on your hand, if you see there are irregularities or minute irregularities as we discussed in the chapter of friction. So here you can see what even though the incident rays are parallel to each other. So in this case, even though the incident rays are parallel to each other, what will happen? Look at the reflected rays. Reflected rays, one is going this side, and the second ray that is going along this direction, and the third ray that is going along this direction. And these reflected rays are not parallel to each other. That is not because of the failure of the law of reflection. That first we studied that angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. It's not because of the failure of that law, first law of reflection. Here also the law of reflection that is followed. But what is the reason behind it is the rough surface. You need to note down that minute irregularities. Irregularities present in the surfaces that will lead to this particular phenomenon called irregular reflection. In irregular reflection, due to irregular reflection that is happening everywhere, we are able to see different objects as it is there. Again, another thing that is called multiple reflection. So you might have seen one instrument called kaleidoscope, how it is prepared by inclining three mirror strips perfectly at 60-degree angles. So and if you place some colored bangles, pieces of colored bangles in this kaleidoscope and view from the top, you will be able to see multiple images of that particular pieces of bangles. So here what is happening, suppose if you place any particular object at this particular point, what will happen? These three mirrors, this mirror, the light rays will go to this particular mirror, 1, 2, 3. Here three mirrors are inclined. Okay. So from here one reflection happened, then again this mirror will send the light to second mirror, then to the third mirror, then again back to the first mirror. So this, as a result of this successive reflection, or what we can say, multiple reflection. Multiple reflection, you will be able to see multiple images. Suppose say two mirrors are inclined at certain angle. If you keep an object or here also you can see multiple images. Okay. Again here also again you will be able to see one more image. Suppose the same way as you are going and sitting in the barber shop, you can see and see the back of your head, front of your head. If the two mirrors are inclined at a certain angle, so you'll be able to see multiple images. Okay, try out next time. Okay, so If you have two mirrors at home, you keep it inclined at certain angle and place an object in between it and observe. You can see the formation of multiple images over there. Clear? So this is about that particular part. One object that is working out of this principle, multiple image, multiple reflection. That is what kaleidoscope. And another one is called periscope. Periscope, it is used for viewing the objects that are just above the surface. Suppose soldiers were hiding in trenches, or soldiers or the sailors who are going in what underwater vehicles. So they use this kind of system, periscope, in order to, or the people or soldiers, those who are driving these tanks, heavy tanks. So they are sitting inside a metal cabin. So they don't know what is happening outside. So they want to see what is happening outside. They are using one instrument called periscope. So here also they are using the same technique, that is the multiple reflection of light. So there, uh, the instrument is just like this system here. Uh, Here will be one mirror one that will be kept at an angle say 45 degree, and here will be the second mirror M2 that is also kept at an angle say 45 degree at this particular point. See here, the soldiers who are sitting inside the trench or inside the tank metal cabin. See what is happening outside. Suppose if a person is standing here, uh, the reflected light from him that falls onto the first mirror M1, then it goes to the second mirror M2, and then the person who is sitting inside the trench of the underwater vessels, they can see what is happening around on the surface or the surface of the sea or the surface of the earth. So this instrument is also working on multiple reflection of light. Here, see here the two mirrors are inclined and these two are parallel. So they will produce, they can see. With the help of this, they are able to see the objects overhead. And similarly, you can see another phenomenon. So the one phenomenon that we discussed so far is about reflection. The light shows reflection, means what? Bouncing off. Suppose if I throw any object, or imagine if I throw a ball onto the board, what will happen after hitting the board of the surface? It will bounce back. This bouncing back of light into the same medium, that is known as reflection. So, and another phenomenon, there are more phenomena, dispersion, and it's called dispersion of light. And another phenomenon is called refraction of light, that interference. There are different phenomena. So we'll study one by one. The next phenomenon is called dispersion. So what do you mean by dispersion of light? Dispersion of light means what? Splitting of light into 7 constituent colors. So we all know that light might have seen rainbow. Rainbow is made up of what? 7 colors. So are there 7 colors in the sky? You may be noting some orange-red color during evening and morning. Or sometimes you can see black clouds or blue cloud sky and somewhat yellowish sun. See, actually sunlight is made up of 7 colors. Suppose when you pass this sunlight through a prism, this is called a prism. If you pass sunlight through a prism, what will happen? It will split the rays of light into 7 constituent colors. See here you can see. So these 7 colors are acronymed as VIBGYOR: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Okay. Understand this phenomenon? Dispersion means what? Dispersion is the splitting of white light into its constituent colors. So Isaac Newton performed this particular experiment. He performed this experiment with one prism, and he allowed the light to enter into the prism, and the light which emerged out of the prism, when he observed, when it fall onto the wall, he noticed that there were seven colors. So this phenomenon of splitting of light into its seven constituent colors is known as dispersion of light. And to learn the definition of dispersion, and this is all about, and the next topic is about how can we take care of our eyes. Don't rub when something goes into our eyes. Just wash it with clean water. Don't rub it so hardly onto your eye. And different parts of eye: cornea, iris, lens, ciliary muscles, retina, optic nerve, blind spot. These are the different major parts of eye. So you need to go through all these things, practice the diagram of eye nicely, and what are the functions of rods and cones. Rods helps to see during night when the light is less and the amount of light is less, and cones help us to see different colors, sense of colors, and during daylight. Why we are able to see during daylight is because of cone cells that are present in our retina. And see, similarly, if we want to keep our vision uh, keep, properly, and if you need to take nourishments, that means proper food, the food rich in vitamin A, leafy vegetables, all this milk, that meat and all this we need to consume in order to keep our eyes proper health, in proper healthy condition. So those who are lacking this vitamin A, so they will feel that during night time, or when the night falls, they will find it difficult to see during that time. So this that problem is known as night blindness, which is caused as a result of this lack of this vitamin A. So you need to eat more vegetables like carrot, this again consume milk, egg. These are rich in this vitamin A. So in order to, and also you need to keep your eyes, give your eyes proper rest. Don't use mobile phones at night too much when there is no light, and if the mobile phone screen that gives you emits very highly powerful beam, and if you are consistently exposed to this light, your eyesight will definitely get weakened, your eyes will get damaged. And similarly, take care of eyes. If you are having any particular problem, just go to go visit a doctor. And similarly, one more thing, give rest for your eyes. Don't keep any objects more closer to your eyes. The minimum distance while you are reading, and also you need to keep at least 25 centimeter distance from your eyes. The book must be kept at least 25 centimeter from your eyes. So that's the least distance of distinction. So if you keep the book so closer, what will happen? Your eyes will feel strained. And don't read while lying down. But don't read. It's not good. Sit straight and read the book. So these are all the major topics that is in this chapter. So we are winding up this chapter. Uh, as I am giving you this additional exercise in the activity book or workbook, you can see this particular book, and the question answers. Practice those questions also for the coming examination. So it will be held very earlier, and also send your notes, completed notes. As I give you the list of students, you send the notes to my WhatsApp number, and keep studying well. Don't uh, be vigilant. Don't roam here and there. Just study well. Keep studying. And stay safe and study well. Okay.